runner-up in the 2009 Australian Open, Stuart Appleby.
Those opening rounds of 66-66. Some have said that's some of the best golf that they have seen for a long time.
A birdie finish is on offer here to win by 5 and get that monkey off his back. He's finally won at home. Adam Scott has finally won at home. He is the 2009 Australian Open champion and joins a long, illustrious list of winners of Australia's biggest golf title. Finally, he says. Such a great story. And while Greg Norman is his hero, he's the hero to so many young golfers. Tony Rosenberg from TRP Sports, the promoter of this tournament, one of the first to congratulate Adam. Fabulous. We promised you an Aussie showdown. It wasn't quite the showdown we had hoped for, but what a finish.
To the wrist and get through, thanks. Let Tony through, please.
So he gets the embrace from Greg Norman. And you never know, the keen surfer that he is, he might just have found a new wave.
Yeah, absolutely. 5 shots, the winning margin. And his name will be engraved on the Stonehaven Cup alongside the likes of Norman, Nicholas, Player, Thompson. He's achieved some greatness, Adam Scott, at the age of 29. A birdie finish. Out in 35, home in 37. For an even par round of 72. I've finally done it. I have finally won at home. And there's Mum and Dad. Andy Marr caught them on Adam's way up 18. Fabulous family moment. What a great day for Australian golf. It's had a little bit of everything this year, the Australian Open. The weather, a little bit of controversy, but a great storyline and a great ending. We'll hear from Adam Scott. We'll have the presentation when we come back to New South Wales. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Piece of that.
To introduce to the crowd that we're sitting with here. So if we get on PA out there.
What a day here at New South Wales. What a week, you could say. And we've had an Australian victory. Not as good as a New Zealand victory for you, but we're pretty chuffed about it. And I know how well you know Adam Scott, and I got to witness something special at the beginning of the week when we were going around the course in one of the practice rounds. And as soon as Adam saw you, you got a big embrace from him. I could see how close you were. What are your feelings on his victory?
I'm delighted for him. I'm delighted for Australian golf. He's been a star, obviously, for nearly a decade. And everybody around the world respects his talents, the way in which he embraces trying to play golf at the highest level. And this, as we said earlier in the week, this has been the hardest year for Adam because those expectations, some thought might never ever happen. And I remember saying that the one thing I will take credit for in saying to Adam is, Adam, 2009 can define you. It's up to you to see how it defines you. And for him, he put his head down, he kept working at his game. And to see him turn it around here in front of his own parents, in his own backyard, I think he'll take an incredible amount of pride out of this, and I'll be very surprised if 010 isn't a very good year for him. And plus, it was great to see Stuart Appleby start to find his game as well.
Sure. Adam was asked earlier that if he were to win today, would that help his reflections on 2009? We're about to find out. He's standing by with Andy Marr.
Thanks very much, Lee. It's a really popular winner, 2009 Australian Open champion. How does that feel, Adam Scott?
It's pretty amazing, really. What a day. I mean, it was so tough out there. It was a grind. It wasn't pretty at times, but sometimes that's how it is. I mean, it's been a long time coming for me to win down here. I've been close, but this one feels pretty sweet.
What does it mean to you?
I mean, I'm so proud to be the national champion of your own country. I mean, that's it. That's the pinnacle, really. What a trophy. I mean, just thinking about the names quickly that are on there, I mean, so happy to be on there, and something I'll treasure forever.
And you know that Australian golf fans have been pulling for you for quite some time to win here. You've won everywhere, but not here. Has that been in the back of your mind? Has it been in the front of your mind? Has it been something that's sort of dogged you at times?
Well, I mean, yeah, over the last few years, there was a lot of coverage about me not winning down here, but playing so well everywhere else. And, you know, I always thought, you know, I'd get my chance and I got to take it. But, you know, so bizarre, this game, that off the back of such a bad year that I finally play good enough to win down here. So, you know, crazy game.
The last 4 or 5 weeks since the President's Cup, you must have felt like it was coming, though. Your form has been turning around. You've had some good results coming back home.
Oh, yeah, I've been playing great since the President's Cup. You know, and I felt it could have been any of the weeks I played. I just didn't put it all together, but this week was really good. Stuck with it, and you know, worked hard today, but you know, it's worth it.
And made some clutch putts today. You made some really big putts out there today. It wasn't a stroll in the park. The scoreboard might indicate that, but there was at least 4 or 5 crucial moments out there where you got the job done.
Yeah, I made some great putts throughout the round. You know, which gave me a bit of a buffer, which I kind of needed coming in. I mean, it was so hard on the greens; they're so exposed, and the wind gusting around. I mean, the putter blade wobbling, and you know, put a lot of good strokes on, a couple of bad ones, but I'll forget about them quickly.
It's a good smile. The moment you came off 18, you've won, you've shaken hands with everybody. It's a bit of vision, I reckon we're going to see a lot of. Adam Scott looking skyward with the cap off and the double-handed fist pump. Do you know what was going through the body and through the mind at that particular moment?
Oh, I think just, you know, feeling like I've worked really hard, and I've been saying it all year, even though I played terrible. But, you know, it pays off. You got to stick with it. And, you know, a lot of people have helped me get through this, you know, especially Tony, who's put up with so much on the bag every round he's witnessed this year. So, you know, it's great that we're able to turn it around and get back on track.
Mate, I think you're going to be a really popular champion. Congratulations and well done.
Yeah, thanks, man. Great.
Super winner. And look at this. Yes, yes, yes. Finally. Finally, I can stop answering questions from people like you and I
Exactly,
about when are you going to win down here.
Yeah, that's the most fortunate thing. But he exudes, we heard just in the interview, that state of class that exists on and off the golf course. But, I think it is a huge relief. It is the monkey off the back. He is a proud Australian. I think he's represented your country extremely well around the globe. And there's nothing better for him right now in this stage in his career than putting his name on that trophy.
We went through a 10-year period where Australians won the Open consecutively. Tim Clark stopped that last year. We got Aussies back in the winner's circle, which is perfect. If you're just turning on for news and you're wondering what's happened, Adam Scott is the Australian Open champion, and we're going to show you his Panasonic Viera highlights. Start at the second hole because the first didn't go all that well. He bogeyed the par 4 first. He got his round back on track here at the second.
Well, this was a flag that you could not afford to go past. It was actually an aggressive swing, kept it on line, and got it in the perfect position some 10 feet underneath the hole.
And while that was impressive, I think this was even more impressive. This is what really ignited the round early.
Well, you can see there's still glimpses of that when that stroke starts to flow, that he starts to make putts and that. I think the biggest thing for him was to fight his own demons.
And after starting with a bogey,
his tee shot on 3 was perfect. Set up this approach shot up the hill to a semi-blind flag, and you can see it just started to flow. At this stage, he was swinging the club very well. He was trying to get back on track, flew the ball past the flag, used that slope and got it nicely to about 8 feet.
Yeah, quite the start. Bogey, birdie, and yes, another birdie.
Just a rock-solid stroke at this stage.
And you can see by his clothes, the wind started to pick up by that stage of the round. We scoot ahead to 5.
Well, this is a crazy tee shot. At times we talk about another gear that Adam Scott possesses. It's not just power, but the power he has, and he has it in spades. He just absolutely killed it down here, one of the longest tee shots. And when you can play a par 5 with a drive and a flick or a drive and a wedge, it certainly makes some golf courses that much easier. Look at this. Perfect tee shot.
Folks, that was 359 metres.
And just you can see here just a 3/4 short iron. That's all he needed. And at this stage too, you're starting to judge the distance very, very well. Gets that in hole high. Once again, very makeable.
Had an eagle opportunity at 5, which we have seen so many of this week. It's played the easiest hole on the golf course. Almost. That really could have made life difficult for Stuart Appleby at that stage. He did putt that back in for a birdie. So 3 birdies in his opening 5 holes.
Well, then things got a little shaky and he got to 10 and it looked like you didn't know which way the round was going to go. Got it some 35 feet short and then all of a sudden it just opened up for Scott. You saw the reaction.
He could feel it. He knew that he was in with a big chance of being Australian Open champion. And watch this, to snug it up nice and close on the final hole to set up a birdie putt.
Just so well judged, up and over her eyes, a true link shot, and what a way to finish.
And nothing better than sealing his first victory on home soil in a tournament of this stature with a birdie. Unbelievable. Played even for the day, 15 under par for the tournament. And as you can see, the scene is set for the presentation ceremony. It was a round of highlights. I mean, particularly rounds 2 and 3 for him. It was full of vintage Adam Scott, wasn't it?
Oh, it certainly was. I think he was helped at the start of the week, obviously, by a draw. He was on the right side of the draw. But then the thing that he did that I was impressed with is that he just took that out of fashion. He effectively said, okay, that happened on round 1 and 2. He started to take control yesterday and then continue to go into another gear today. And I think looking forward in that, Adam Scott, you can see even today, there was a few frail moments where he'd miss a short putt or hit a poor shot. If he starts to erase those, and they will go away very, very quickly, especially, then you start to see the Adam Scott that we talked about some 2-3 years ago, and the sky's the limit.
We need to go to a quick break. When we come back, Greg Norman, a 5-time Australian Open winner, will be presenting the Stonehaven Cup to this year's champ, Adam Scott. There's a very nice slice of cash waiting for Adam Scott and a very special trophy. Time for the official presentation ceremony. Let's go to Grant Dodd.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you welcome to the 18th green the winner of the 2009 Australian Open, Adam Scott. Ladies and gentlemen, we've also got another fairly significant Australian golfer with us. Would you please welcome five-time winner of the Stonehaven Cup, Greg Norman. I'd like to introduce the official party. Anne Lenigan, Chairman of Golf Australia, Mr Stephen Pitt, CEO of Golf Australia, Jeff Parmenter, CEO of Events New South Wales, Chris Gordon, President of the New South Wales Golf Club, Ben Sellinger, CEO of One Asia, Trevor Herden, Tournament Director of Golf Australia, and Bruce Grinter, Brand Manager of Tag Heuer. And ladies and gentlemen, a special word of thanks to the New South Wales Government through Events New South Wales, who've been able to make the 2009 Australian Open possible. A big round of applause, please. Well, on behalf of Golf Australia and of all the golfers of Australia, our favourite son, Greg Norman, will present the Stonehaven Cup to Adam Scott. I'd like to ask Anne Lenigan to come up to present the cheque and the gold medal to Adam Scott. And just in case that isn't enough, I'd like to ask Bruce Grinter to come up and present a magnificent Tag Heuer watch to Adam for his victory. Well, Adam, the podium's yours.
Thanks. Thank you. I don't know where to start really, but this is very, very special to me to win here, to win the Australian Open. It's taken me a while to win down here, and but this one feels extra special. I struggled this year, but you know, I had a lot of people around me supporting me who I'll have to thank. But when I got back here and played in Melbourne, a lot of people supported me. It felt really good coming home. And I think I speak for all the players for this week on how well you've supported us. But, you know, I feel very, very honoured to be on this trophy with such a great list of champions. And even better to win here on an incredible golf course, which was playing incredibly difficult at times this week. And, you know, thank you very much for all coming out and supporting some great golf this week. Obviously, to everyone involved in the tournament, thank you very much. New South Wales Events, Tony Rosenberg and his team, getting everything through fairly smoothly given some tough circumstances with the win this week. Well done. You know, I'm a little lost for words on this one. I haven't really thought about what I need to say, but this is going to be very sweet and something I'll treasure for the rest of my career. So thank you very much. Please keep coming out and supporting us. Thanks.
Adam Scott, ladies and gentlemen.
It's probably one of the most sincere victory speeches I've heard in quite some time, and lovely to hear Adam speak at length and just how much, and you can see when Andy Marr spoke to him and then with that victory speech just how much it truly means winning the Stonehaven Cup, being an Australian Open winner, how much that truly means to Adam Scott. And it's a bit of a fairy tale, isn't it? First time here at this famed golf course, first time that New South Wales has hosted the Australian Open, first time Adam Scott wins a significant one at home. It's great storyline.
It was a quirk of fate. Just looking through the list of champions, and you go back to the first one, and it was Michael Scott, oddly enough, at the Australian Golf Club. And it's weird how history has that habit of repeating itself, but I don't think there could be a better person at this stage of Australian golf to come through. You know, Australia produces, I see it as a New Zealander growing up, you produce so many quality players, and you produce so many stars. We talk about Michael Sim. If there's one guy, then there's another 5, 10 behind them. So each one of these players, and Adam Scott being one of those, represents just a cavalcade of other players that come behind. And I think your growth, your potential for the game, especially with these great golf courses, is just unlimitless.
And for parents, and you want to get your kids involved in golf, playgolf.com.au is the place to go to. There's so many avenues to get involved in this wonderful game. So Adam Scott is the Open winner, and boy, that smile, the eyes, that told the story, didn't it?
Oh, it did. It was a tough day. I think I haven't seen 4 days of such trying conditions for such a long time on a golf course that was well suited for the conditions. But at times on the brink, we saw that when they had to stop play earlier in the week. That doesn't take anything away from the championship. I'm surprised they haven't come back earlier to New South Wales. They haven't come here before to host this great championship. But I'm sure that this will be put on the roster, and for good reason. It's a wonderful blend of par fives. The par threes all work in different directions. This should be certainly on the roster for the Australian Open.
For the guys and girls down the pub, or when they go to work tomorrow, if they didn't catch our broadcast, the storyline is, who won the Open? It was Adam Scott. I thought Appleby was there, so the question begs, what happened to Stewart?
I think it was once again a case of a tough year. There's some demons there. I did sort of say it in the commentary. I think at times the self-chatter. And I think that sort of belies the year that he's had, where you're not 100% sure of exactly what's going to happen. We talked about his golf over the first 2 days. It was phenomenal. 66 in conditions that were at times 60-kilometre-hour winds. That was phenomenal golf, and I think he would have felt hard done by because he was on the wrong side of the draw. Then it was a subpar round effectively yesterday, subpar for Appleby, that is. That led a lot of people back into this event. But I think Appleby more at the moment knows that his game is there or thereabouts.
His game's back, isn't it?
Yeah, can he just let it flow now? I think it's a case of actually doing less rather than doing more for Stewart.
All right, one final break. We'll come back and wrap things up from New South Wales. A quick reminder, don't forget, over on One, we'll have half an hour of post-round coverage with the roundup. Be back soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings to a close the presentation ceremony of the 2009 Australian Open. We'll be back next year in Sydney again at the Lake Golf Club. We hope to see you all then. Thank you for coming and have a great day.
The $1.5 million Australian Open has been won by Adam Scott, the 29-year-old Queenslander, and he is delighted. We know that many of you are turning on in time for the news. That's the headlines, and these are the Panasonic Vieira highlights. And it was a super day. As we mentioned a little earlier, it didn't get off to a super start. Adam Scott bogeyed the first, but he sure made up for it very quickly.
He did. 3-putted the first green, then all of a sudden had a very makeable birdie putt on the second. Things started to feel a little bit better as he buried that one right in the middle.
We go ahead to 3, and it was more of the same. Watch this for a beautiful approach shot.
Yeah, uphill second shot, flag cut short right.
Hey, left.
And he hits it
Left
right
ball.
at the
Get
TV
out.
tower. Looked like it was going a little right. Just catches the hill and starts to spin back towards the flag.
And that, you might say, makeable. In Adam Scott's eyes, it was done. Watch the confidence of this. No worries. Birdie, birdie. Just to extend his lead. Because of that very hole, Stuart Appleby had bogeyed. So things were starting to look very interesting after a 359-metre drive. Yes, that's right, 359 metres. This was his second shot into the par 5 fifth.
Just ate up the par 5s this week. You can see why. With some huge tee shots and then set up another putt for an eagle.
So close. And he thought it was there. Why wouldn't he? He was putting beautifully early today. There were a few hairy moments later on.
Well, then all of a sudden things went a little south and Adam Scott played a rather conservative second shot on the 10th, and it looked like the round might have gone south until makes that huge putt, and it couldn't come at a better time.
And just a fairy tale finish. Beautiful drive. Great second shot, and check this out for a third. Let me just roll this up here in front of the corporate suites, the grandstands in the hill. So I have a very achievable birdie putt to become the Australian Open champion. Super stuff. If you missed the coverage today, you got it all right there. The Panasonic Vieira highlights. A really memorable day. It's been great having you on board, Frank, and you will be with us again next week up in Coolum for the Australian PGA Championship. Looking forward to it.
But looking forward to it. If it's anything like this, I can't wait, mate.
Yeah, we are too. We are too. Coverage begins from noon on Thursday. We're going to have the same as this week, all 4 days of coverage. Wasn't it a thrill to have the Great White Shark in? That was good. Your captain from the President's Cup, and he had some really interesting comments to make, so we thank Greg for that. And of course, he presented the Stonehaven Cup to Adam Scott. From all of us here at 10 and 1, we congratulate Adam, and we'll see you on 1 for the roundup. The Australian Open has been played and won by the former world number 3, 29-year-old Queenslander Adam Scott. He's won all around the world, been criticised and questioned. Why not here, Adam? Well, he's finally answered that emphatically. In difficult conditions, the relief immense, the achievement a lifetime memory. The Stonehaven Cup is Adam Scott's. His name on that illustrious trophy amongst golfing legends, the likes of Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, and his childhood hero, Greg Norman. Hi everyone, Lee Diffie and Frank Noblo with you here at New South Wales Golf Club. We've got half an hour's coverage for you, post-round coverage, and we are hoping to have our new winner, the Open winner, right here in the studio with us. That's Adam Scott. We believe that he is on his way, so we'll see Adam shortly. We'll have a chat. Really simple question. How did he win it? What got him there?
Well, I think it's a case of also what turned his game around this year. Everybody hits bad shots in golf. It's how you're punished for them. And I think if there was one little touch of fortune for Adam Scott, it was the draw. But it's how he used the draw in his favour. He's always got the length, so he can always have that power to eat up some of the par fives. One of the most impressive things for Adam Scott this week is that when he got himself into trouble, he either came up with a half-decent chip shot or a bunker shot or a good putt at the right time. We saw him miss putts, but we saw him make enough, and every now and again a 30-footer to keep the momentum going. That's been the biggest difference between Adam this week and during the course of 09.
All right, let's show you the overall leaderboards so you can pick your favourite player and just get a general feel of who finished where, because there was some really interesting play today and some names that we want to highlight. Of course, spare a thought for Stuart Appleby. It just didn't click. It just didn't happen for Stuart today, as simple as that. How about Michael Long, the Aussie-based Kiwi, just played out of his skin. American Bryce Mulder, and then we have got Nick Ahern right there, and Nick made a vital birdie on the last, and Michael Sim there really played well on the final day also. So interesting stuff there. Jared Lyle. Jared had an interesting moment on the 18th. Rod Pampling played so well today. Really nice stuff. So too did Cam Percy. Never gave up.
It's amazing. I think that's the thing that you had to have in these conditions, and that we basically got the wind coming from 3 or 4 different directions during the course of the 4 days. So at no stage could you really think that this hole was going to play exactly as it did the previous day or 2 days ago. So we saw a great variety, and of course to actually register 4-round subpar like Michael Sim was certainly some great playing.
Harry Epstein had a terrific round of 5 under today to rocket himself into the top 20. He came from nowhere, and that was a superb round. Greg Chalmers, who showed promise early, faded back a little. Brad Kennedy made the cut and had a pretty decent tournament there, as you can see. And the New South Wales Open winner Lee McKechnie did very well also. I'll be really interested to talk to Matthew Goggin up in Coolum. I'm sure he will say he left a lot out there this week.
Well, he did. I was surprised. His best golf actually came in the worst conditions. He was one of the other ones that was on the other side of the draw. And then he seemed to play actually rather solid, get himself in position. And as the conditions got better yesterday, strangely enough, he actually played, his golf started to diminish.
And look at the big name on that towards the back of the leaderboard, Jeff Ogilvy. It's been a tough week for Jeff. He was on the wrong side of the draw right from the get-go and really fought hard. However, we should say on a positive, Jeff shot a 4 under 68. It was almost the round of the day. So good stuff from Jeff Ogilvy there, fighting on, and he goes to Coolum next weekend as the defending champion of the Australian PGA. Now, would you like to see what the smile looks like of an Australian Open winner? It looks like this. Adam Scott joins us in the studio. Well done, mate. That was a super day.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, it was a grind in the end, but, good enough. I mean, it was something I'll remember forever now.
It was really interesting. We had your childhood hero, Greg Norman, with us. It was great scenes when he presented the trophy to you. But Greg was in there with Frank, your captain and your vice-captain from the President's Cup team, and they were analysing your swing, analysing your putting, and Greg said he saw so many positive elements to it. Would you, I mean, this is proof that's right, but no, do you agree?
I mean, that's a really good observation. That's how I feel. I mean, it's not perfect, and it's hard to be perfect on a day like today. So tough, but I also feel and see so many positive things in all areas of my game, And it's something I want to build on. And like I said, I'm trying to get better, and I'm doing all the things that I feel is right, and they seem to be going the right way.
We're going to show some highlights in just a moment, but I want to ask you something. What was your mental composition? Where were you after bogeying the first? Did you say, oh, God, no, please?
Oh, not really. The green speed was so much slower than I really anticipated. I mean, often the putting greens are much quicker than the greens on the course, and that was the case there. I had quite a quick putt down the hill, downwind. I thought I don't want to putt it off the front of the green, and
sure.
barely got over the hill. So, yeah, not the ideal start, but, I quickly regrouped and got on with things. Sometimes your best rounds come from that kind of start.
All right, we're going to roll some highlights of your round. I think we're going to start at the par 3 second, and feel free to jump in and talk through, because Frank and I have been talking about the highlights. How about you commentate your way through?
Yeah, well, I mean, this was a good shot. I just had to start it left of the hole and let the wind move it right. I mean, it's a tough green to hit because a little bit either way you miss the green. So that was a very good shot.
It looked at times today too, Adam, when you let yourself go, when you got out of your own way, you just started to play, you started to scratch that form that we've seen before.
Yeah, that was good, and that was the feeling I was looking for out there today. It didn't happen all day, but certainly at times, like you said. And on the front nine, I feel like they made some really good putts that got me a bit of a buffer.
What about this monster, mate? Hey, you had your Weet-Bix this morning, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, the driving was what I was worried about today, because I'd felt it not been so good the last couple of days, and I think that might have been the first time I got it out. So to smoke it over the hill there on the 5th was good, because there's trouble everywhere.
I know you knew your distance in, but did you know your distance of the drive?
No, well, I mean, it is downhill.
But it was 359. It was a monster.
Yeah, and that was a pretty good putt that just didn't go.
You played the par 5 so well this week. They seemed, every time you made a mistake, were one of the the par putt, this on 6, and that seemed to keep the momentum going. But all of a sudden, too, at this particular stage in the round, it looked like you were in control. And then, can you talk us through this 7?
Yeah, just a bad putt. Didn't trust it. I had it just inside the right, and the wind coming across me, and I shoved it out to the right.
And did the gremlins come back on how hard it was going to be for you to win an Australian Open?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was all pretty easy up until that point, but that putt on 8, I think, was huge, because Stu and I were back and forth, in trouble, out of trouble, and that was a big putt. And then obviously 10. This was
such a good stroke too. Perfect speed.
Yeah, I mean, I was feeling pretty good about myself at that point, but it's so easy to.
But then you made our job a little harder again.
Yeah, and this one just a terrible push, and they're just the putts that I said my putting's not feeling 100% comfortable, and I think you'll find that they're the ones where my hands get low when I hit them. And I mean, 14 green, it was so exposed, and it was hard to stand up on there, so I'm not surprised I missed that putt. It wasn't that bad a putt, just the wing got a hold of it.
There was some nice energy from the gallery. Did you feed off that?
Yeah, it was great. A lot of people out there today supporting and, creating an atmosphere for us to play in, which is always fun and gets you fired up. And again, I mean, this is a really good putt. I just stuck with what I was doing, and good stroke there right in the middle. So, it doesn't work every time, but overall over the week it was really solid, and I think I'm getting better.
You had some really good saves. You had some really good up and downs.
And again, this is a shocker.
This one made Greg sit up in his chair.
Yeah, it's just unnecessary wasting shots like that.
Yeah, but the irony is you win a tournament by 5 shots, and you can look at this 2 different ways. You look at the fact that there's so many things that are going to be easy to get better. And then even the way in which you play 18. I mean, you thump a drive down there, and then obviously Tony talks you into laying up. And then just the pitch shot, the third shot, to me, this is the imagination. And you're starting to see Adam Scott and what Adam Scott can do.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked hard on my pitching all year. Actually, Greg gave me a lesson earlier in the year, and I've been working on it, and that's certainly a part of my game that's improved. So, I mean, to finish it off with a birdie and shoot even, I mean, that was kind of the icing on the cake today.
It was so enjoyable to see you enjoy the win. And congratulations on your speech, too. That was very sincere.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. I mean, I didn't get much time to think about it, and but it really is special to win your national championship. It's a great honour, and for an Aussie, after the majors, it's something you want on your mantelpiece. There's no doubt. So it's nice to kind of cross this one off and, hopefully get a couple more over my career.
Now, can you do us a favour? Can you quit one hobby? Can you quit surfing?
Yeah, well, I didn't surf at all this year and I didn't play any good, so maybe the surfing...
You surfed at the start of the year.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I did. But, it's something I find relaxing, so... Maybe I'll just take it easy, Frank. How about that?
No, that'll be good for everybody, I think.
During the ceremony, when you were about to make your speech, during your speech, we saw you twirling the Stonehaven Cup. Frank and I did that in here the other day. It's amazing to see the names. And has it sunk in yet that your name's going to be on there next to Nicholas and Player and Norman, etc.? I know, it's incredible. There's a few trophies around the world that would have the list of champions that this does, and certainly an honour to be on there. And I'm sure just the quality of golf course and the quality of player that we have playing this event, that's why they're on there. And this week's no different. New South Wales Golf Club, incredible. Let's show you a special moment for Adam. Take a look at this. You got the trophy. It's finally mine. Yeah. Great stuff. Yeah, it feels pretty good. Well, I know that there's about 3,724 interviews that you've got to do after this, so thank you very much for making a little bit of time for us. And from everybody at Channel 10 and 1, congratulations, super story, fairy tale, first time here at New South Wales and you're first. You'll remember this forever, won't you? Absolutely, yeah. Thanks very much, and thanks for your support, and especially Frank. We've been close this year, so I really appreciate it. Well, we hope it's the springboard for a good week next week and also for 2010. Thank you. Standing by is Andy Marr. Andy, take it away.
Thanks very much, Lee Diffie. We've just been hearing from Adam Scott and now Stewie Appleby. Mixed feelings, or an hour and a bit after it all, do you feel like you've had a really good week and this is a sustainable kind of turning point for you?
Mixed feelings, yep. I felt like I was playing good enough to win this tournament, no doubt. Obviously, I can't account for someone else's form and how they might be playing, and Adam obviously chipped away and played fantastic. Really tortoise in the hair. I got out like the hair pretty quick and just couldn't seem to manage the momentum, but love the way I'm playing. Feels real, feels comfortable, and getting real results. And there was a time period where I was playing nice, but then I'd go the first tee and it wasn't working out by the 18th and was frustrated. Then I'd start the day. I was all a bit emotionally up and down. I'm feeling much more in control of what's going on.
Does something click, or is it a result of just hard work, just grinding away on the range and you're working on something and then eventually it comes to you?
It's both. It's both. You have to have the hard work and then it has to click, and it has to be both. And a lot of hard work, but then clicking bit can be the longest bit. You can take months, maybe even longer for it to click, and I fought with that for a while. So things, just feel real. I feel like Stuart Appleby should be playing more like this, and instead of that idiot that I've been most of the year, almost anniversary I've been playing poorly. So it is a amount of up and downs. Tiger talks about there are downs, and not that he knows much about downs, but ups and downs. And it's about when your downs are there, is how shallow you can make them before you're on the rise again.
And as a dad, the girls are happy to see the old man playing good golf again?
Yeah, she was in the scorers hut, this one here, my oldest, and she goes, "Daddy, did you got a big trophy?" And I turned to my right and I said, no, he did. And she had this look of disappointment on the face, like, I don't get one. I get like the second biggest. That still didn't even get a smile on her face.
Just the 66 and the 66, your first two rounds, you played unbelievable golf, like unbelievable golf. What did it feel like to be in the shoes playing that way?
Look, I've shot lower rounds and they felt a lot more natural and easy. To shoot those rounds were pretty low, but it was just I don't know. It was like trying to get a punch in a tough fight. I managed to get some in and make some putts. I hit putts where I didn't quite thought I needed to have them, and they went in, and I hold a couple of chips. So, I was in the zone, if that's the right thing, in conditions where you really course didn't allow that, and obviously the rest of the field found that to be the case, and I had my share on the weekend.
Thanks for your time. Good luck next week.
Anytime. Thank you.
Good stuff. It doesn't get any better for us, does it? The Australian Open and Aussies everywhere, 2 Aussies at the top, and a winning margin of 5 shots to Adam Scott. He is he's a very delighted, very relieved winner, that's for sure. We're not done yet here on the Roundup. Plenty more from New South Wales when we come back. Welcome back to New South Wales. The roundup continues, and we said right at the top of our coverage broadcast, not here on the roundup, but way back at noon at the beginning of the telecast, we said that professional athletes become sporting heroes depending on how they perform in critical moments. Well, Adam Scott performed just brilliantly. Jay Townsend was one of the fortunate ones out there on the course following the final group. Jay, Frank and I were talking in that commercial break. There was a period of time where it may have looked like the nerves set in. 13 through 16, Adam dropped 3 shots, but he did keep it together pretty nicely, didn't he?
Well, he did. I mean, he had such a big lead that I think sometimes you can either let down a little bit, like, okay, I've got this, but you got to remember there were tough conditions out there, and he did miss a couple short putts. I think he won by 5 shots, but the thing is, he didn't really putt that well. He missed a couple short putts, really missed 3 short putts that I can remember. It just goes to show you how well he played from tee to green to beat this field the way he did. It was a phenomenal performance from tee to green.
Now, Jay, the thing is, I think it was such an important win for Adam. I mean, we look at it now, but in retrospect, had he not gone on to win, 09 could have been a totally different proposition for Adam Scott, because once again he would have to answer all the detractors and go, well, what happened? And I think that to me is what it looked like that he was battling today. Did you sort of get a sense of the same thing?
Well, I thought it was, I mean, he said no, but I thought when he 3-putted and there was a 2-stroke swing on the first hole, I thought, whoa, that's going to put a little, a little chink in his confidence right there. But for the most part, he came right back, birdie the following 2 holes, got his lead back. It was actually 3 because Stuart Appleby dropped a shot, and from that point on, he was really in control. He missed some shots, but you were going to miss some shots because they were tough conditions. But he played smart when he was in trouble. He played smart approach shots. He didn't get overly aggressive off the tee. He did everything the way he should, and you know what? Everyone else just kind of succumbed to the pressure and the playing conditions, and they essentially beat themselves, and he was the last man standing.
Jay, I know you like the word positivity, but there was a lot of positiveness and also energy within the gallery. It must have been nice to be a part of it. They weren't tiger-sized galleries, but they were good-sized galleries for Australian golf, and good to see so many people here at New South Wales supporting our boys.
Oh, they loved it. I want to tell you what, they were supporting both players equally. When Stuart Appleby fell away a little bit, you know, they were yelling, come on, Stewie, get up there, because what they wanted a dogfight right to the end. It didn't turn out that way, but the galleries really appreciated the quality of play. They knew what they were watching. They were very knowledgeable. You could tell by that. They were having a good time. You know, I think all in all, it was a great week. I think that the galleries out here were fabulous.
Good stuff. All right, let's take you back and show you some more highlights of Adam Scott and that winning moment. Get in the hole was the call, and get in the hole is what it most certainly did. He came home and finished off nicely with a birdie, which really put a period on it. And Adam confirmed for us just when he was walking out of the studio, you'll definitely see me next week at the Australian PGA Championship at Coolum on the Sunshine Coast. So we look forward to that. We're going to throw up the leaderboards one more time just so you can have another look. And coming from nowhere was American Bryce Mulder.
Yeah, obviously a great week for him, and that there was the opportunity to come from behind. But 156 players started the week, just 68 players made it till the weekend. And of course, he was the leading American player, Michael Long leading New Zealand player. But this was very much, as you can see, an Australian Open.
$270,000 going to Adam Scott and $153,000 going to Stuart Appleby. The boys will have a little breather, just a couple of days off, and then we head to the Sunshine Coast for the PGA Championship next week. The first Aussie Open at New South Wales, and it's Adam Scott's first Aussie Open title. So much to talk about, so much to celebrate, and isn't it refreshing to see the man who was at one stage world number 3 have a beaming smile back on his face and striding around the golf course with confidence.
Oh, and it's just nice to see the swagger back, see the game, and that when you see the way in which he plays golf, he's one of the few that has that very graceful swing, a la Tom Weiskopf or even Australia's own Steve Alkington, who actually won at the Lakes the last time the Australian Open was held at the Lakes.
Speaking of that, 2010, the Australian Open Championship will be held at the revamped Lakes Golf Club here in Sydney. So back-to-back years at Sydney. We really look forward to that. And so too does Greg Norman, because in the commercial breaks, Greg was telling us about his injury, about his rehab, and that he will be back here swinging a golf club next year, and he's going to be playing at the Lakes.
Well, it'll be great for everybody. 30 years, obviously, since he won his first there, the first of 5 and that. But I'm interested to see what the golf course looks like with all the changes that they've made.
And it'll only be the third time in 30 years that the Open will be played at the Lakes. We're really looking forward to that, but we're looking forward to next week as well, the PGA Championship up at Coolum. It's a pretty good field, isn't it? Take a look at those names. Sadly, Vijay Singh was forced to withdraw. He wasn't physically up to it. He's on the recovery trail, but pretty impressive field. And there again, you see John Daly.
Oh, it's nice that John's obviously going to play 2 weeks in a row, but I think, we saw good things out of defending champion Jeff Ogilvy. He had a run of 68 today, so I think he's obviously going to enjoy going back there. But Adam Scott back on form, Appleby back on form, Chalmers starting to play well. Robert Allenby coming all the way from South Africa. I mean, do you look at the star-studded lineup that you have for next week? We've got to be looking at a cracker tournament.
And Robert has a very much elevated world ranking at the moment. Did very well on both the European and US PGA tours this year. So Allenby's in some of his best form in a long time.
He is, and I think that venue, not unlike this venue, will certainly play into the hands of some of the striking abilities of the good tee to green players like Robert Allenby. But I think the setup this week, and I know Jay Townsend spoke very, very highly the way in which this golf course was set up. So hopefully we have the same next week.
If you've just joined us, if you just turned on one, you don't know the news. Adam Scott is the Australian Open winner, and this is how he did it. He did it in style, birdieing the par 5 18th like that, just to put a